Mamuina Kwaba, at the bank certificate for Yenda in Concosia a year NDC Akachi. Name after the 2024 general elections, no 2 months of pepe, a name a year and summer, a course so our Mangana Muhadia, a NDC youth no at the Ghana Omofaso. And now Betino native for a EC office, the jar to machine or Shabetino native for every SHS, a journey assistance. Na ranko kufado and aped egu hono mankola na woni betino no bi ebuani ehwe bi a ho no bi a hye and sema akosona edoso tema port woni betino na NDC youth no astomi hono matifo mo parke niama na ewo hono mu ina akọ anase wo onye NDC ni no wo mo pamo de dindin chese nsasem ne de tifo na emboboye asefem na nadwo de ye na etesintim da no ni kohwe ekokobo de tifo mo 200 containers ayira de dindin anokwa anokra beka hoiti for esika chenchenche bi edom account musu sa skano ayira amuhu bi asesika we afa neti won hwe ensesema ekoso awa yeses John Dramani Mahama kachono sa de nisa betodwa sintino ase nkrofo na opa wo manase odom eye adwuma neti for ensesema na sesena esom yo madwuma enkoye baku se enso sese de tudwa sinti san nkrofo ni na oyo manase sa appointed CEOs no oyo mu na appointed eye nkrofo for sina adwuma no baye no wano don't you
think so? I'm saying that no court will accept that. Let me finish my submission at this point on this subject. My brother made reference to inbuilt constitutional mechanisms. He made reference to the advice of the Council of State. The legal effect of the advice of the Council of State has already been settled, which is that advice of the Council of State is not binding. It is even more the reason why the regulations is necessary, because the president can choose. Listen, Bernard, this is where this is how delicate it is. The president himself is performing is exercising a discretionary power, so he can choose to do what he wants to do, right? Or he can choose not to do it. Then he is supposed to be guided by the advice of the Council of State, the legal effect of which the Supreme Court has said he can accept or reject. Can you imagine? That is double discretion. That is double discretion. He has the discretion to accept the advice of the Council of State or reject the advice of the Council of State. And you are telling me that exercising a double discretion to suspend the head of another arm of government.
Okay.
There's no need for regulation.
Wonderful.
What are you talking about?
Very good. Let me. No, hold on. We have time. A few minutes. I have like 10 minutes. What I want to do is to breathe again for the last time. Because there's a lot of luck. So I'll take Edu's reaction to this, and then I'll take closing arguments. Yes. Because obviously this is
I'll do a quick response.
The GBA's statement has brought out again the need to look at the suspension, because don't forget, the first demand of the GBA is a withdrawal of the suspension or the revocation of the suspension. So they are not really quarreling with the fact that there's a 5-member committee. They think the suspension, which is why we've brought the candle back on the suspension. So that's to put in the issues in context. They have not said, for example, that the process should stop. They just want to more information on the prima facie case, which everybody believes is not really grounded, because once the prima facie case is brought out, or the basis of the decision, that in-camera process is defeated. But that's a secondary argument. So we'll take Edu's reaction to Balfour's rebuttal, and I'll give each gentleman a few minutes to do closing arguments. This is the point of the views lost. And I also need to say to you that in the previous life, my guest in the studio worked under the leader of the bar. So he has a similar position with the Attorney General. So these are originals we have on the show tonight. Give me 2 minutes to respond to him.
So quick one. If you look at even Run for France, his lordship that tried to draw the distinction. He said, look, he made the point. But what I mean, where adjudication is involved, then we are dealing with a quasi-judicial body.
He made in the judgment.
Yes.
Yes.
This is why he says this court should follow the highly persuasive authority of Captain, the obligation to make regulations should be limited to discretion that are exercised in quasi-judicial situation. By that I mean where adjudication is involved.
Okay.
That is that.
Okay.
Clear and authoritative. Now you see, my little senior tries to run away and now limit the conversation to discretion and say, admit. Yes, it's true. May appearing there shows discretion. And so in the Eleplin Agbamava, Nana Santi Bedietu and matter, this is what the plaintiff invited the Supreme Court to do. It says, quote, the first plaintiff sought to challenge the exercise of this power on grounds inter alia that no regulations have been enacted to guide the exercise. And for that matter, everything that the president has done pursuant to the grant of the pardon to the Muntie or remission is unconstitutional. Then the Supreme Court said, in his view, the absence of a constitutional instrument to regulate the exercise of the power under Article 72, here Article 146(10)(a), is in clear breach of Article 12196(c), which requires the exercise of discretion by non-judicial officers.
296.
Yes, 296. To be governed by regulations enacted in the instrument for that purpose. So the court now proceeded and says that where the president is exercising the power pursuant to an advice. And so if you look at the wording of Article 146(10)(a), once again, which I read earlier, it says that the president may, by a warrant, suspend the chief justice in accordance with the advice of the Council of States. So in that case, the Supreme Court says that. So the decision cited should be in consultation with, or on the advice of, or with the approval of. And when the president acts, in this case, it is not the contention of my learned senior that the president didn't act in accordance with the Council of State prior to the suspension. If that was the contention, then it would have been a different kettle of fish. In this case, the Supreme Court said, once the president acts in accordance with a particular constitutional mandate, as in this instance, he is not required to comply with it. So again, the court said, quote, from the foregoing, the proper exercise of discretion should be marked by fairness and candor. And thus any conduct in the exercise of such discretion which may be described as being capricious, where the capriciousness, he doesn't make the argument. Born out of resentment, he doesn't make the argument. Biased by personal dislike, no certain have been alleged. Or for shows of due process, no certain have been alleged. It's not the proper exercise of discretionary power and constitute abuse of same. The rationale for Article 296 is to check the abuse of discretionary power. Concluding, the court said, thus in situations where Constitution itself provides the safeguards like the instant case, it is our opinion that the exercise of that power must be viewed in the light of the safeguard. So he says, if the president desires to suspend, act in accordance with the advice of the council, the court says, once that is done, it takes away the issue of abuse. Now listen, it says the proper must be viewed in the